Hello and welcome to NAFDAC and your else. My name is Tosin Omolaja, and here's where we bring you up to date with NAFDAC's activities with regards to its mandate of safeguarding the health of the nation. Thanks for joining us for another insightful edition of the program. On the program today, we continue our expose on NAFDAC's infrastructural development initiatives aimed at strengthening the agency and fostering its mandate of safeguarding the health of the nation. In the last 2 weeks, we've showcased the growth experienced by the agency in ICT, enhanced mobility made possible through the acquisition of new vehicles, and construction of custom-built offices for state formations across the country. Today, we'll turn our focus to laboratories, which are the bedrock of any regulatory body, such as NAFDAC. NAFDAC laboratories have experienced tremendous transformation since Professor Mojisola Adeyeye took charge of the agency, especially critical structural changes such as decentralization of its laboratory operations, which has given impetus to the excellent results that are now being witnessed.
Decentralization of the lab into 4 directorates is one of the outcomes of restructuring of NAFDAC for better governance. Effective management needs a lot of focus, strategic planning, and when I joined NAFDAC, we had about 450 staff in our different laboratories, 7 laboratories, and we had only 1 director. And I said, no wonder the lab was not working, because how can you manage 450 people in 7 locations across the country? So that is why I knew that we had to break the labs into smaller units for effective management. If you send a sample to the lab, and let's say it's Kaduna or Maiduguri, and it is only 1 person that is going to sign off on that, you can imagine how long it will take. So it is common sense, simple management platform or skill that was applied, and that has changed the laboratory outcomes positively. But it is not just that too. This is civil service organization. Our staff need to get fulfillment in terms of development, career development. So instead of 1 director, we have 4 directors. That is a good thing for a workforce.
Beyond restructuring the laboratories, Professor Adeyeye also prioritized the total revamp of the laboratories across the country with cutting-edge technologies that promise not only to deliver on the agency's mandate, but also set NAFDAC shoulder to shoulder with highly placed regulatory bodies globally.
NAFDAC has 7 labs spread across the country. 5 of those labs are accredited, and they have continued to be re-accredited, because it's one thing to be accredited, it's another to be re-accredited. Labs are central to whatever NAFDAC is doing, because we have to test all products. When I took this job, the equipment in the lab were outdated. Some of them were not functioning. But we got our acts together. We rearranged the way we do our budgeting. We plugged the loopholes so that money will not be gushing out. And now, through our savings, we've been able to buy many pieces of equipment.
Before the advent of this present regime, the laboratories were in that need of equipment. The equipment were old. 70% of the equipment were not working. This particular laboratory had only 2 HPLCs which were donated. Bank of Industry gave us one. and another organization gave us one. That was how dire it was. Whereas in a laboratory like this, should have nothing less than 20 HPLCs. Before the advent of the present regime, we had only 2. At the point in time, we did not even have pH meter. It's unbelievable. But now, with gradual and systemic approach to procurement and the support of the management and support of federal government, and we are gradually getting there. We are making progress. You can see we have obtained a couple of HPLCs, cutting edge, new ones that are built in the last 1 year. That is what we are using here. And all the software that are used to operate this, they are very, very new, and data integrity is assured. And we are sure that we are not there yet, but the little we have obtained now is a step that is welcome.
One of the most important goals of NAFDAC under the leadership of Professor Mojisola Adeyeye is that Nigeria attains drug security. And so the agency has spared no effort in ensuring that its laboratories meet the required standards.
The main purpose of establishing and equipping this laboratory is to ensure that all regulated products that are eventually reaching the populace are of good quality and they are safe. And it's only the laboratory services and arm of the agency, one of the directorates in the agency, can make such pronouncement. So how do you make pronouncement without testing? It's not possible. And for us to test, the laboratory must be equipped with adequate number of equipment. And this equipment must be up to the international standard expected, because our laboratories are ISO certified. Because of our ISO 17025 status of the laboratories, the requirement for the equipment necessary to be used in the lab is very stringent. Very stringent, otherwise the results we pronounce in these laboratories will not be accepted. So because of that, we have to keep updating our laboratory with cutting-edge technologies, new development, equipment that will ensure reliable results, consistent results, reproducible results, and most importantly, results that the data generated are protected. That is why we have to buy cutting-edge equipment regularly. And the laboratories have ISO 17025 accreditation. For instance, the laboratory, the drug lab here, we have 17 scopes. What I mean by scope, the different types of tests, compendial tests that we are certified to carry out, and if you carry out any of those test scopes, the results are acceptable anyway, all over the world. The same thing, the food lab at Oshodi has over 32 test scopes, Kaduna, all of them, and the biologics lab. So a recent example of the activities and importance of equipping the laboratory is our experience during this COVID-19 pandemic. Our National Control Laboratory for Vaccines and Biologics was made ready through emergency procurement of some critical equipment, because COVID-19 vaccines is novel, the disease is novel. So we, despite the fact that we have personnel training in this regard, we still needed new equipment and new reagents, which the agency clearly did emergency procurement to make sure that when the COVID-19 vaccines came to Nigeria, we were able to carry out safety tests and on the quality of the products. Our new equipment that we are procuring now, they are run electronically. They are configured together, and they can talk to each other. And we have a laboratory information management system through which we network the whole laboratory, that you can track the movement, the status of any analysis you are doing real time. So the software is what we are using. We have just upgraded it, and we keep on upgrading it to meet modern and new challenges. And for us to move further and even get the WHO pre-qualification for our laboratory, we still need to get more equipment, because the WHO pre-qualification is the ultimate certification of any drug testing lab. So, and we are working towards that. Very soon, hopefully before the end of the year, we still strive to get more equipment to convince them that a country like Nigeria with over 200 million people, we have adequate testing capacity to undertake testing of medicines for public use in Nigeria.
All of these efforts have culminated in faster testing operations and therefore accelerated registration process.
This robot I have here, let me call it robot, is a cutting-edge equipment, HPLC, and it can take 200 samples at a go. 200 samples, assuming that I'm working on artemether lumefantrine tablets, anti-malaria tablets, and maybe I have 500 of it in the lab to do. I can put 200, prepare my samples, each of them, put 200 samples here, and it's auto-sampling. It will run. It will continue non-stop, 48 hours, 72 hours. I will just come back, check my the system, print out the chromatogram, and it does auto-calculation and everything. I get my results. If I'm working on 500 samples, I will only need to load twice. Within a week, I have finished. Unlike before, you have to load one by one and wait for, no. Now we have a chance. And this equipment, we even have so many specialization. You believe some of these things are refrigerated. You have refrigeration inside, you can control the temperature of the sample you are working on. So, and some you work at room temperature, some you work at refrigerated temperature. This little robot here has all these devices. So you can imagine if I have more of that, I can attend to other moieties, I can attend to multivitamins, antibiotics, all sorts of medicines, that thousands of moieties that comes to the lab every time. So it has really improved our services. We believe that if we get more, we get to the level of customer satisfaction that we desire.
We'll take a short break now. Don't go away. Welcome back. If you're just joining in, you're watching NAFDAC and your else. This transformation is being experienced right across all the agency laboratories, including its central laboratory, where food products are being analyzed.
Before the 2017, when DG came, the situation here was that most of the equipments were faulty and were not functioning. Largely due to the fact that we do not have special engineers, that's technicians that are trained to handle most of this equipment. So they were not giving us the necessary services. What we were seeing then was that we were incapacitated. We were not able to give a full assessment of the products, such that we were having some of them flapped. What I mean by flapped is that we now put facility limitation advisory form for these products. But when this management came on board, they felt that we were not doing much, we were not doing enough, and that we cannot continue to approve products on the basis of flap or physical examination. So we started with maintaining or getting qualified engineers, that is representative of the companies on each of these equipment, both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, South Africa and Egypt, to visit us and fix some of these faulty equipments. Thereafter, she looked at most of these equipment as being obsolete or out of spec, because they were purchased in late 2000, 2008, 2007, 2006, even as far as to Akwili regime. So she felt we should modernize our equipment, modernize our lab, put in new equipment that can meet international standard. Because for for us to achieve the accreditation status, we need to use equipment that can meet the international standards. And so we started going for new equipment. And so our scope of analysis started expanding as soon as those equipment started arriving. So presently, we have so many high-class equipment that could compete with any other laboratory within the universe. In 2017 and early part of 2018, what you see is not functioning, not functioning. Now, the equipment are super functioning. She, on her own, ensure that we do not buy our equipment from the road vendors. You must be a recognized manufacturer's representative, trained manufacturer's representative, such that if we need any technical services on any of those equipment, the vendor will be able to provide.
Now, turnaround time for laboratory analysis have been greatly improved and courtesy of the new equipment. The laboratories are able to take on more tasks and deliver with excellent precision.
As I speak with you, we have a timeline of 30 working days maximum. We are not saying that there cannot be one or two that may have stayed more than that, probably because of oversight. Or the sample is failing a particular parameter and we have to do OOS, that is out of specification investigation, to know the root cause. We do the root cause analysis and then provide CAPA. If we know it is not personnel, it's not our equipment, it's not our reagent, then we now know that actually that product must have failed that parameter.
Unlike in time past, when equipment become moribund over a very short time, the agency has also put a policy system in place to ensure the technologies and technical know-how are effectively transferred to NAFDAC analysts.
Fundamental thing about acquiring new technology is that you have to think of how to train the people on how to use the equipment. So we had an agreement also with the supplier. You don't just supply and dump. No, you will supply, install, and train the end users. It's only when you have done that that we know that we have terminated that part of the contract. Otherwise, if you have not consumed the contract by training the end users, then we cannot sign your documents and you cannot be paid. So and that is the reason why we also went for trained, certified representative of the manufacturer so that they can transfer the technology on how to use and do some minor maintenance. Our IMU unit, instrument maintenance unit, can do minor troubleshooting and give, if there is a column that is, if the pressure of a HPLC column or HPLC is high, he should be able to he should be trained on how to make sure that he brings down he flushes the column and make sure that he brings down the pH, the pressure to optimal level.
The COVID-19 pandemic has reignited the dire need for Nigeria to be able to develop its own vaccine. And this is something the DG of NAFDAC, Professor Adeyeye, has been aiming for since day one, as the agency works relentlessly to attain the WHO global benchmarking. Apart from equipping existing laboratories across the country and working hard to ensure they are accredited, the agency is also building new laboratories, including a laboratory exclusively built for vaccines and another in the South-South region.
The vaccine lab and the drug lab share the same premises, which ideally should not be. So we have appealed, we have presented proposal, and it has been approved by Federal Executive Council that a new purposefully built vaccine lab be built. So that is in progress, and I'm very sure that before long that project will start, and it will equally be equipped with cutting-edge technologies to meet any tests required or any services required for the biologic staff. Because it's not only vaccines that are tested in that lab, we have kits, we have medical devices, and other biologicals.
In Calabar, we have a facility there that is very, very big, far, far bigger than the area lab in Port Harcourt. So that since 2019, when she visited, she mandated that they should start developing that facility. So virtually, the South-South Zonal lab will soon be ready by the grace of God in Calabar, and it's a far, far bigger facility. So as a result of that, the small area lab that we have in Port Harcourt is basically going to move to that larger facility, and it will be able to, it will actually improve the capability of that the South-South Zonal area lab to handle many more products, because then you will now have a variety of products to handle, food, drugs, cosmetics, and all that.
Beyond drugs, food, and other regulated products, NAFDAC laboratories have the capacity to analyze chemical and biological weapons.
The proposed OPC laboratory is domiciled in Central Laboratories, and that is why our lab is called Food and Chemical Testing Laboratory. The National Authority for Control of Chemical and Biological Weapons took a tour of laboratories in Nigeria and found our lab very ideal to carry out the analysis of chemical and biological weapons. So the lab is equipped by the agency with assistance from federal government, with state-of-the-art equipment, and the lab is being fed adequately well in terms of the PT, and we're looking forward to being designated very soon as an OPC testing laboratory. If we are designated as OPT testing lab, the first in West Africa, it means all issues relating to chemical weapons being used for terrorism will be tested in our laboratory. And it is to a great advantage to the nation, a great advantage to West African countries and Sub-Saharan Africa.
That's our package for today. Please join us again same time, same station next week for a fresh edition. In the meantime, if you have comments, complaints, or you want to report activities of fake drugs or adulterated food product peddlers in your area, our doors are always open. You can reach NAFDAC via toll-free numbers. For inquiries, call 0700 162 3322. For complaints, call 0800 162 3322. You may also email NAFDAC at nafdac.gov.ng. If you have complaints about any form of misconduct, you can reach the Reforms Unit via email reforms@nafdac.gov.ng or call the Reforms hotlines on 0909 763 0506 or 0909 763 0507. NAFDAC, customer focused, agency minded. Remember, COVID-19 is real. Please ensure you and your family follow the safety measures as outlined by the NCDC. Stay away from crowded places as much as possible, and if you must be out there, please wear a face mask. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water and ensure you use only NAFDAC-approved alcohol-based hand sanitizers. See you next week. Stay safe.